Have you ever wondered why, even when you know what you should do to improve your life, you still don't do it? Like, you want to wake up early, chase your goals, eat healthy, but somehow you keep repeating the same old patterns? Well, Jen Sincero says it's not your fault. It's your subconscious mind running the show behind the scenes. Welcome to Chapter 1, My Subconscious Made Me Do It, where we discover how your hidden beliefs secretly control your entire life. Jen starts by explaining something powerful. Most of us live our lives on autopilot, repeating old habits, fears, and thoughts that were programmed in us since childhood. Our subconscious mind is like a computer system. It stores every experience, lesson, and belief we've absorbed over time. From the moment we're born, we pick up messages from our parents, teachers, society, like money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard to be loved. People like us don't get rich. These ideas become our truth, even if they're not real. And without realizing it, we build our whole life around them. So when we try to do something new, like start a business, go to the gym, or ask for what we deserve, our subconscious says, wait, that's dangerous. That's not who you are. And boom, we self-sabotage. We quit, procrastinate, or convince ourselves it's impossible. Jen explains that your conscious mind is the one that dreams, plans, and decides what you want. It's like, I'm going to get in shape. But your subconscious mind, the one running 95% of your daily life, is saying, nope, we don't do that. We like snacks and Netflix. That's why you feel that internal battle. One part of you is motivated, but the other keeps pulling you back to comfort. The key lesson here: you can't change your life just by thinking positive thoughts for a few minutes. You have to reprogram your subconscious, replace old, limiting beliefs with empowering new ones. Jen says the first step to transformation is awareness. Start noticing your patterns and your excuses. Every time you say, I can't, or that's just how I am, pause and ask, where did that belief come from? And is there any proof? Chances are it's just an old story you've been repeating to yourself. Jen reminds us, you are not your past. Your subconscious might have written your story, but you're the author now. You can choose new beliefs like, I am capable, I deserve success, the universe supports my growth. The more you practice these thoughts, the more your subconscious accepts them as truth. And when that happens, you stop fighting yourself and start flowing with your goals. Jen keeps it real. She admits she wasn't born confident or fearless. She struggled, failed, and repeated mistakes. But the moment she understood how her subconscious controlled her life, everything changed. She says, you are responsible for what you believe and for creating your own reality. That means no more blaming luck, childhood, or circumstances. You have the power to reprogram your mind and build a badass life from scratch. Your subconscious is not your enemy. It's just outdated software. To live your dream life, you must update your programming with belief, awareness, and action. So, now that you know your subconscious shapes your reality, how do you actually change those deep beliefs and turn into your most confident, powerful self? That's exactly what we'll explore in Chapter 2, the G word, where Jen reveals how to connect with the universal energy that creates everything you desire. Stay tuned because things are about to get spiritually badass. All right, my friends, in Chapter 1, we learned that our subconscious mind controls most of our life. But now comes a question deeper than all. What if there's a bigger power helping you create your reality? A power that listens, supports, and guides you, even when you don't see it. Jen Sincero calls this power the G word. Yep, she's talking about God, or source energy, the universe, spirit, infinite intelligence, whatever name makes you comfortable. This chapter is not about religion. It's about realizing that you are connected to something way bigger than yourself. Jen says, everything in this universe, every tree, thought, person, and even your phone is made of energy. That same energy runs through you. When you're happy, confident, and inspired, your energy vibrates high. When you're fearful, doubtful, or negative, your energy drops low. The cool part? The universe matches your energy, like a mirror. So if you send out fear and scarcity, you attract more of that. But if you send out belief, gratitude, and excitement, the universe responds with opportunities and synchronicities that blow your mind. Jen says, you are a magnet. You attract what you are, not what you want. So if you want an amazing life, you have to vibrate like someone who already has it. Jen knows the word God can trigger people, maybe because of religion, past experiences, or doubt. That's why she says, don't get stuck on the name. Call it the universe, source, or even Fred if you want. What matters is understanding that this energy of creation is always around you and within you. You don't have to earn it or prove yourself worthy of it. You're already connected, like Wi-Fi. The only problem, most of us never log in. When you start trusting this energy, you'll notice signs, coincidences, and ideas showing up at the perfect time. That's not luck. That's alignment. Jen explains that believing in this universal energy is like having faith that things are working out even when you can't see how. Most people live in fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of being judged. But faith means you choose to trust that the universe has your back. Think of it like driving at night. Your car's headlights only show a few meters ahead, but you keep driving because you know the road continues. That's exactly how faith works. The moment you start replacing fear with trust, your entire vibration shifts. You stop forcing things and start flowing with life. Jen gives simple ways to strengthen your connection with the G word. Be still and listen. Spend a few minutes every day in silence. Your intuition, that quiet inner voice, is how the universe speaks to you. Practice gratitude. Gratitude raises your vibration instantly. When you focus on what's good, more good things flow your way. Ask for guidance. Don't be afraid to ask the universe for help. Whether it's clarity, courage, or an opportunity, just ask and stay open to the answer. She says, faith is trusting that the universe knows what it's doing, even when you have no clue. Here's the real mic drop moment. Jen reminds us that you are not separate from this energy. You are this energy in human form. You are literally made of the same creative force that makes galaxies, oceans, and sunsets. That means you have the power to create, attract, and design your life, just like the universe creates everything else. The problem is not that you're disconnected, it's that you believe you are. Once you remember who you truly are, pure potential, limitless energy, everything begins to shift. Jen keeps her signature humor even here. She jokes about how people say, I don't believe in that spiritual stuff, but then they'll make wishes on eyelashes, pray before exams, or say, everything happens for a reason. We all believe in something. We just call it different names. So instead of fighting it, why not use it to create the life you want? There's a powerful, loving energy always guiding you. Call it God, the universe, source, whatever. When you trust it, talk to it, and act from belief instead of fear, your entire life upgrades. Because once you connect with the energy of creation, you become unstoppable. So now that we've connected with the power of the universe, how do we stop listening to the negative thoughts that keep holding us back from actually believing in ourselves? That's what we'll dive into next, in Chapter 3, Present as a Pigeon. Get ready to learn how to live in the moment and finally shut down your inner self-doubt. You've heard people say, live in the moment. Sounds nice, right? But let's be real. How often do we actually do it?
We're either stuck worrying about the past or panicking about the future. Meanwhile, the present moment, the only real place where life is happening, slips right by. In Chapter 3, Jen Sincero calls this lesson present as a pigeon. Why a pigeon? Because pigeons don't sit around regretting their past or worrying about next week's breadcrumbs. They just are. And that's exactly what we need to learn, to be fully alive right here, right now. Jen starts this chapter by reminding us, the present moment is literally all we have. Think about it. The past is gone, and the future hasn't happened yet. The only time you can act, love, or change your life is now. But our minds are like wild monkeys, jumping between what if and if only. We replay old mistakes or worry about problems that don't even exist yet. The result? We live in our heads, not in our lives. Jen says, you can't have a real relationship with your life if you're not in the moment. That means no matter how big your goals are, if you're not present, you'll miss the joy that's happening right in front of you. So why is it so hard to stay in the now? Because being present means trusting that the moment you're in is enough. And that's scary for most people. We want control. We want to know what's next. We think happiness will come after we reach the goal, not during the journey. But Jen flips that idea. She says, if you're always racing to the future, you'll never find peace. Because peace lives only in the now. The irony? The future you dream of can only be built by taking action now. Now, Jen isn't the type to tell you to meditate on a mountain for 5 hours. She gives real-world, funny, and doable advice to practice presence every day. Here are her best tips. Catch your thoughts. When you notice your mind drifting to the past or future, gently pull it back. Say to yourself, I'm here, right now. Use your senses. Look around. What can you see, hear, or feel? The smell of coffee, the sound of birds, the touch of the breeze, those things ground you in the present. Breathe consciously. Take slow, deep breaths. It's the simplest way to bring your attention back to your body and out of your head. Celebrate the small stuff. Smile when you cross something off your to-do list. Enjoy your meal instead of rushing through it. Presence turns ordinary moments into magic. Jen calls worry a misuse of imagination. Think about it. When we worry, we're imagining negative outcomes that don't even exist yet. It's like using our creative power to build a world we don't want. Instead of asking, what if things go wrong? Ask, what if things go right? That one shift in thought changes your energy completely. Because remember from Chapter 2, the universe mirrors your vibration. When you live with peace, gratitude, and joy in the now, you attract more of it. Here's the magic. When you're truly in the moment, fear disappears. You're not worrying about failing tomorrow or regretting yesterday. You're just doing, feeling, being. That's when creativity flows, opportunities appear, and confidence shines through naturally. Jen says, you are never more alive than in the present moment. And honestly, that's where your inner badass lives, not in the past or future, but right here, right now. Jen shares that she used to be the queen of distraction, always stressing about money, her career, or relationships. But the moment she learned to stay present, she felt peace even before success arrived. Because presence isn't about ignoring your goals. It's about trusting the process while enjoying the ride. The only real power you have is in the present. The past is your teacher. The future is your dream. But the present is your playground. When you live fully in each moment, life becomes lighter, funnier, and far more magical than you ever imagined. So, now that you've learned how to live in the present moment, what's the next step to believing that you actually deserve the good things that come your way? Because in Chapter 4, The big snooze? Jen reveals how our comfort zone tricks us into playing small, and how to finally wake up to your true power. Trust me, you don't want to hit snooze on this one. Have you ever noticed how every time you tried to level up your life, something inside you screams, "No, stop, stay safe"? That's not bad luck. That's not laziness. That's what Jen Sincero calls the big snooze. It's the voice of your old self, your comfort zone, trying to keep you stuck exactly where you are. This chapter is about recognizing that voice and finally choosing to wake up to your true potential. Jen explains that the big snooze, or BS, as she hilariously calls it, is the part of you that's terrified of change. It's that inner voice that whispers things like, "What if you fail? People will laugh at you. Just stay where you are. It's safer." And guess what? It's the same voice that talks you out of your dreams, out of your confidence, and out of your happiness. Your big snooze is your ego, your false self, the part that wants control, certainty, and zero risk. But here's the catch. No great life ever came from the comfort zone. Jen says, your ego is like an overprotective parent. It wants to keep you safe, but it also keeps you small. Your ego's main job is to protect your identity, even if that identity is unhappy. It's wired to keep things familiar. So if you've always been broke, scared, or insecure, your ego will fight to keep you that way because it feels comfortable. When you start to dream big, like quitting your job, starting a business, or changing your mindset, your ego freaks out. It says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, that's too risky. Let's hit the snooze button." But deep down, you know that growth and comfort can't exist together. Jen beautifully describes this as a battle between your old self, the one living small, and your new self, the one ready to shine. When you decide to step up, your old self gets nervous. It throws fear, doubt, and drama your way, trying to pull you back into your safe bubble.
That's why every time you try something bold, things feel worse before they get better. You might lose old friends, face rejection, or feel uncomfortable. But that's just your old life falling apart to make space for your new one. Your new life will cost you your old one, and that's okay. Jen reminds us, you can't become a new version of yourself while holding on to the beliefs and habits of the old version. Here's the fun part. Jen gives us real, practical ways to break free from the big snooze and step into our power. Notice the BS. Start catching your limiting thoughts. Every time your mind says, "You can't do that," smile and reply, "Thanks for your opinion, but I'm doing it anyway." Embrace discomfort. Growth always feels awkward at first. Instead of running from fear, see it as proof that you're moving in the right direction. Take small, bold steps. You don't need to change everything overnight. Do one courageous thing every day. Send that email. Make that call. Start that project. Surround yourself with energy lifters. Hang out with people who inspire you, not drain you. Energy is contagious. Protect yours. Affirm your new identity. Say things like, "I am confident. I am capable. I am unstoppable." The more you say it, the faster your subconscious starts believing it. Jen reminds us of something life-changing. When you take bold action toward your dreams, the universe responds. It's like the universe says, "Finally, you're awake. Let's do this." New people, opportunities, and ideas start showing up. Doors open. Synchronicities happen. You realize it wasn't luck. It was alignment. Because when you show up for your dreams, the universe shows up for you. Jen shares that when she first decided to transform her life, to start writing, coaching, and speaking, she was terrified. She had no idea if it would work. Her ego told her she wasn't smart enough, spiritual enough, or good enough. But she took action anyway. And guess what? The moment she stepped out of her comfort zone, everything started to shift. She realized that fear wasn't a stop sign. It was a green light telling her she was on the right path. The big snooze represents everything in you that wants to stay asleep, safe, comfortable, and average. But you weren't born to live small. You were born to grow, to create, to inspire. And that starts the moment you stop hitting snooze on your potential and say, I'm ready to wake up and be my badass self. Now that you've learned how to wake up from the big snooze, here's a question. What happens when fear tries to control your every move? When it becomes the voice inside your head holding you back from greatness? That's exactly what Jen dives into next, in Chapter 5, Self-Perception is a Zoo. Get ready to understand how your thoughts shape your reality and how to finally see yourself as the powerful creator you truly are. Lion. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you see someone confident, capable, and full of potential? Or someone full of self-doubt, fear, and not enough? Jen Sincero says, the way you see yourself shapes your entire reality. Welcome to Chapter 5, Self-Perception is a Zoo, where we learn how your thoughts about you can either cage you in or set you completely free. Lion. Jen starts this chapter with a truth bomb. You are the only person who can make you feel the way you feel about yourself. That means no one else defines your worth. Not your parents, not your past, not your mistakes. But here's the problem. Most of us were raised to believe false stories about who we are. When we were kids, we absorbed comments like, you're too shy, you're not creative, you always mess things up. And those messages became our identity, our self-perception. Now as adults, we still live by those outdated beliefs. We walk around with invisible signs that say, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve success. Jen calls this your inner zoo, a mental cage filled with stories that no longer serve you. Imagine your mind as a zoo, filled with different animals representing your beliefs. The fear monkey that screams, don't try new things. The guilt elephant that never forgets your past mistakes. The doubt snake that whispers, you're not ready. And there you are, trying to live your best life, but surrounded by these noisy animals. The key, Jen says, is to realize that you are not your animals. You are the zookeeper. You have the power to feed new thoughts, calm the chaos, and create peace in your own mind. When you stop identifying with your limiting beliefs, they lose control over you. Jen explains something powerful. Your brain believes whatever you tell it, even if it's not true. So if you keep saying, I'm not confident, your brain finds proof to support that. If you say, I'm terrible with money, your brain helps you stay broke. That's how your self-image becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But here's the good news. If your thoughts can create your limitations, they can create your freedom. Rainbow. Start saying things like, I am capable. I always figure things out. I deserve amazing things. At first, it might feel fake, but repetition rewires your brain. And soon, your self-perception shifts from fear to confidence. Jen says, you are the only person who decides who you are. Let that sink in. Jen gives us a few bold, practical steps to break free from our mental zoo. Identify your self-sabotaging beliefs. Write down the thoughts that hold you back. I can't, I'm not enough, I always mess things up. Seeing them on paper helps you realize how ridiculous some of them sound. Challenge them. Ask, is this really true? Or is it just an old story I've been repeating? You'll realize most of your limits were never real, just inherited ideas. Replace with new beliefs. Create affirmations that reflect who you want to be. Example, I'm confident and magnetic.
Say it every morning until it becomes your truth. Act like your new self. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start behaving like that badass version of you now. The feeling of confidence comes after the action, not before. Celebrate every small win. Each time you do something brave, acknowledge it. That's how you train your brain to see yourself as capable and powerful. Jen says the ultimate goal is not just confidence, it's self-love. Loving yourself means accepting that you're not perfect, and that's perfectly okay. It means forgiving your past, embracing your weirdness, and knowing you're worthy just because you exist. You can't build an extraordinary life from a place of self-hate. You have to believe you're deserving of greatness, because you are. Jen reminds us, you are perfect. To think anything less is as pointless as a river thinking it's not wet. That line hits hard, right? Jen shares how before writing You Are a Badass, she saw herself as a failure. She doubted her talent, compared herself to others, and felt stuck in the same place for years. But once she changed her self-perception, once she decided she was a successful writer, coach, and badass, everything changed. Her outer world caught up with her inner world, because your thoughts create your vibration, and your vibration creates your reality. Your self-perception determines your destiny. If you see yourself as weak, life will treat you that way. But if you see yourself as powerful, unstoppable, and deserving, life will rise to match your belief. You are not your past, your mistakes, or your fears. You are the creator of your story, and it's time to write a new one. So now that you've learned how to change how you see yourself, here's the big question. What happens when you finally start believing in yourself, but your old fears, doubts, and people around you try to pull you back down? That's exactly what Jen talks about next in Chapter 6, Love the One You Is. A powerful chapter about self-acceptance, forgiveness, and falling in love with the real you. Get ready, this one hits deep. Let me ask you something real. When was the last time you truly felt proud of yourself? Not for what you achieved, not for what you did, but just for being you. Jen Sincero says this chapter is all about the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one you have with yourself. Welcome to Chapter 6, Love the One You Is. Because before you can create a badass life, you have to start by loving the badass who's living it. Jen starts with the truth we all need to hear. You are perfect. You are a miracle. And you are here for a reason. But most of us don't believe that, right? We grow up thinking self-love is arrogance. We're told things like, don't brag, stay humble, you're not that special. So we shrink ourselves to fit in. We put others' needs first, we chase approval and forget to approve of ourselves. Jen says loving yourself isn't about ego or vanity. It's about respecting your worth and honoring your uniqueness. When you truly love yourself, you stop begging others for love because you already have it inside you. Jen tells us to look in the mirror, literally, and say, I love you. Sounds simple, right? But try it. Most people can't even do it without laughing, cringing, or feeling awkward. Why? Because we've been trained to judge ourselves, not to appreciate ourselves. Every wrinkle, every scar, every so-called flaw becomes a reason to doubt our worth. But Jen says you cannot hate yourself into changing your life. You can only grow when you love yourself enough to believe you deserve better. So instead of criticizing your reflection, try thanking it. Say, thank you for keeping me alive. Thank you for still trying. That simple act can change everything. Inside every one of us lives two voices, the inner critic who says, you're not enough, the inner badass who whispers, you've got this. The problem is we've been listening to the critic for too long. The critic is born from fear of rejection, failure, or judgment. But the inner badass is pure truth. It comes from love. Jen says, every time you hear that cruel inner voice, you have a choice. You can believe it or call it out. Next time your critic says, you're not smart enough, answer back, thanks for the feedback, but I choose to love myself anyway. That's how you slowly starve your critic and strengthen your badass. Jen explains that self-love isn't just about confidence, it's also about forgiveness. Many of us hold on to guilt, shame, or regret from our past. We replay our mistakes like a broken record. I shouldn't have done that. I messed everything up. But here's the truth. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. Beating yourself up won't fix the past, but forgiving yourself will free your future. Jen says, holding on to guilt is like stabbing yourself to punish the knife. Ouch, but true. Forgiveness is how you make space for self-love to grow. Flowers. One of Jen's strongest messages is be unapologetically yourself. Stop comparing, stop pretending, stop trying to fit into someone else's idea of enough. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs the real you. Your voice, your weirdness, your story, all of it. She says, you are the only you there is, and the only you there ever will be. That's your power. When you show up as your authentic self, you attract people, opportunities, and experiences that match your real energy. And that's when life starts to feel effortless, because you're finally living in alignment. Jen gives practical ways to love yourself more each day. Speak kindly to yourself. Replace harsh self-talk with gentle encouragement. Talk to yourself the way you talk to your best friend. Set boundaries. Say no to what drains you and yes to what lights you up. Protecting your peace is a form of self-respect. Do things that make you happy. Whether it's dancing, painting, or walking alone, give yourself permission to enjoy life. Celebrate yourself. Every win, no matter how small, deserves recognition. You're growing, you're trying. That's worth celebrating. Surround yourself with love energy. Spend time with people who uplift you, not those who make you question your worth. Jen opens up about how she used to rely on others' validation. If someone didn't like her or rejected her, she'd spiral into self-doubt. But the moment she stopped seeking love outside herself and started being love, everything changed. She became more confident, creative, and magnetic because love became her natural state. She reminds us, when you love yourself, you attract people who love you too, because energy recognizes energy. Self-love is not something you earn, it's something you remember. You were born worthy. You were born enough. You don't need fixing, you just need accepting. The moment you start loving yourself exactly as you are, your life begins to rise to that same frequency, because love isn't just something you feel, it's something you become. So now that you've learned to love the one you is, how do you deal with fear, that sneaky emotion that tries to keep you from chasing your dreams? That's exactly what Jen uncovers next in Chapter 7. I know you are, but what am I? Get ready to face fear, flip it, and turn it into your greatest power. Let's be honest. How many times have you stopped yourself from doing something just because you were afraid? Afraid of failing? Afraid of looking stupid? Afraid of what people might think? Jen Sincero says fear is not the enemy. It's actually your teacher. In this chapter, she shows us how to stop letting fear control us and start using it as fuel. Rocket ship. Welcome to Chapter 7. I know you are, but what am I? A powerful reminder that fear doesn't define you, it reveals you. Jen starts by saying something we all need to hear. Your fear is full of crap. Fear pretends to keep you safe, but really, it keeps you stuck. It whispers lies like, you're not ready. What if you fail? What will people think? And we believe it because fear wears a convincing disguise. It sounds reasonable. It makes excuses look like logic. It tells you to wait for the right time. But here's the truth. The right time never comes. If you keep waiting for fear to disappear before you act, you'll wait forever. Jen says, instead of fighting fear, you've got to dance with it. Dalda. Acknowledge it, thank it for showing up, but don't let it drive. Jen explains that most of our fears come from our ego. The ego hates uncertainty. It wants to control everything. It says, don't risk looking dumb, or don't try something new, you might fail. But the ego's goal is not to make you happy. It's to make you comfortable. And comfort zones are prisons made to look like paradise.
So whenever you feel afraid, ask yourself, is this fear trying to protect me or limit me? Once you see that fear is just the ego's trick, you stop letting it boss you around. Here's the most empowering idea Jen drops. If you're scared, it means you're doing something right. Because fear only shows up when you're stepping outside your comfort zone, when you're leveling up. Think about it. The people who achieve greatness aren't fearless. They just act anyway. Every dreamer, creator, and entrepreneur feels afraid, but they know that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move despite it. So the next time your heart starts racing and your stomach flips, smile. It's a sign that you're growing. Jen says the best antidote to fear is faith. Not necessarily religious faith, but trust in something bigger. When you trust the universe, yourself, and your purpose, you realize that life supports your growth. Faith says, even if I don't know how this will work out, I trust that it will. Fear shrinks your world. Faith expands it. So whenever fear says, what if it goes wrong? You say, but what if it goes right? That one thought can flip your entire mindset. Jen shares how fear used to rule her life. She was broke, unsure, and constantly worried about what others thought. But one day, she realized fear was just her comfort zone disguised as logic. When she finally took a leap, writing books, speaking, coaching, she was terrified. But every time she faced a fear, her world got bigger. She says, the only way to get rid of fear of doing something is to go out and do it. Simple, bold, truth. Jen gives practical steps to turn fear into confidence. Acknowledge it. Don't pretend you're not scared. Admit it. Feel it. When you face fear, it loses its power. Do it anyway. Take small actions that move you toward your goal. Fear fades with motion. Visualize success. Imagine how amazing it will feel once you do it. Focus on the outcome, not the obstacle. Surround yourself with courage. Hang out with people who inspire you, not those who feed your doubt. Reframe failure. Every failure is feedback, not proof you can't do it, but proof you tried. Each time you push past fear, you train your brain to see risk as opportunity. Jen says fear and excitement are almost the same thing. They both make your heart race and your palms sweat. The only difference? The story you tell yourself. Fear says, this is scary. Excitement says, this is new and amazing. So the next time you're scared before a big step, flip it. Say, I'm not afraid. I'm just excited to grow. That small shift can transform anxiety into action. Fear is not your enemy. It's your compass. If something scares you but also excites you, that's your soul saying, this way. The real question isn't, what if I fail? It's, what if I never try? Courage is built one small act at a time. So stop waiting for confidence and start moving with fear in your pocket, because that's where the badass inside you is born. Now that you've learned how to face your fears, what if I told you that the stories you tell yourself about who you are might be the real thing holding you back? Oh? In the next chapter, Chapter 8, What Are You Doing Here?, Jen reveals how to discover your true purpose and finally step into the life you were meant to live. Rainbows. Stay tuned, because your next level
is waiting for you. Do you ever stop and ask yourself, why am I even here? What's the point of all this? Wake up, work, sleep, repeat? Is that really it? Well, Jen Sincero says absolutely not. You're not here to just exist. You're here to create, shine, and live your purpose, the unique reason you were put on this planet. Earth, stars. Welcome to Chapter 8. What are you doing here? Let's discover what you were truly born to do and how to actually start living it. Jen starts with a mind-blowing truth. You were born with a purpose, and the world needs what only you can offer. Think about that for a second. Out of billions of people, there's no one exactly like you. No one with your exact thoughts, voice, energy, or dreams. Yet most people spend their lives trying to be someone else, fitting in, following rules, staying safe. Jen says that's why so many people feel lost, because deep down, they're ignoring what they were meant to do. Your purpose isn't something you have to find. It's something you have to remember. Heart. Jen jokes that you can tell you're not living your purpose when life feels like a never-ending meh, zero. You might feel bored, stuck, or secretly jealous of people who are doing what they love. Maybe you've got a good job, but it doesn't make you feel alive. That's not failure, it's a sign. A sign that your soul is whispering, hey, we were made for more than this. But instead of listening, we usually silence that voice with excuses. It's too late. I don't know how. What if I fail? Jen says those aren't reasons, they're distractions. Your purpose isn't hiding. You just need to stop doubting yourself long enough to see it. Jen gives a super simple method to discover your purpose. Follow what lights you up. Fire emoji. Ask yourself, what makes me feel most alive? What do I lose track of time doing? What would I still do even if I didn't get paid for it? That's your soul talking. That's your purpose waving at you saying, hey, over here. It could be art, teaching, building, healing, speaking, helping, creating, writing, whatever makes you feel electric inside. Jen says, your desires were given to you for a reason. They are your roadmap. So stop judging your passions as unrealistic. They're your calling. Jen reminds us that living your purpose isn't just about personal happiness. It's about impact. You're here to contribute something special that no one else can. When you do what you love, you raise your energy, and that energy inspires others to rise too. Rainbows. Think about it. Every great invention, every song, every movement started because someone followed their passion fearlessly. When you honor your purpose, you give others permission to do the same. That's how change spreads, one brave decision at a time. Of course, once you realize your purpose, fear will show up. It'll tell you you're not ready, not qualified, not talented enough. Jen says that's totally normal. In fact, the bigger your calling, the louder the fear. Because purpose is meant to stretch you. It forces you to grow, to let go of your comfort zone, and to become the next level version of yourself. So instead of running from fear, use it as a signal. You're headed in the right direction. If it scares you and excites you at the same time, that's the sweet spot. Exclamation point. Jen shares how fear used to feel lost, jumping from one random job to another, constantly broke and uninspired. She thought she had no real purpose, until she realized that all those experiences, even the messy ones, were preparing her for what she was truly meant to do, inspire others through writing and speaking. She says, your purpose might not be clear now, but everything you're going through is leading you there. So don't worry if your journey feels confusing. Every step, even the wrong ones, are part of the right path. Jen gives practical ideas for stepping into your calling.
Trust your desires. If you want it deeply, it's meant for you. Take action. Don't wait for perfect clarity. Just start. Action creates clarity.
Stay curious. Try new things, explore, and follow what excites you. Surround yourself with believers. Be around people who lift your energy, not those who mock your dreams. Don't compare. Your purpose is yours. Someone else's path has nothing to do with yours. Stay patient. Big visions take time. Trust the process. Jen ends this chapter with a powerful truth. You don't find your purpose. You create it. It's not a one-time discovery. It's a journey, a constant evolution of learning, growing, and following your joy. Your purpose can shift, expand, and surprise you. The key is to stay open and keep showing up with love and courage. Because every time you follow what lights you up, you step closer to the life you were born for. You are here for a reason. You matter. You're not some cosmic accident. You're a divine expression of creativity, potential, and love. Your purpose isn't hiding. It's waiting for you to say yes. Yes to believing in yourself. Yes to following your desires. Yes to becoming the badass you were born to be. Now that you've started to uncover your purpose, how do you actually believe you can achieve it? Especially when your mind keeps whispering, you can't. That's what we'll explore next in Chapter 9, Loincloth Man. A powerful story about belief, possibility, and what happens when you finally start thinking big. Okay, get ready for one of the wildest, funniest, and most inspiring stories in this book. Imagine a man walking through the streets of India, wearing nothing but a loincloth. People are staring, the sun is blazing, and yet this man walks with total peace, zero shame, zero fear. Jen Sincero calls him Loincloth Man, and through his story, she teaches one of life's biggest lessons. You can do anything if you believe you can. Welcome to Chapter 9, Loincloth Man. Jen tells the story of an Indian man who left everything behind, his possessions, his comfort, even his clothes, to follow his spiritual calling. He lived with nothing but his faith and his loincloth, but instead of feeling poor, he radiated joy, peace, and abundance. He didn't worry about what people thought, he didn't chase money or approval, he simply believed, with his whole heart, that the universe would take care of him. And guess what? It did. He was always fed, sheltered, and surrounded by love. Jen was blown away. How could someone have so little yet feel so complete? The answer, belief. Stars. Jen explains that belief is the foundation of everything you want in life. You don't get what you wish for, you get what you believe. If you believe you're not good enough, your actions will match that. If you believe success is for other people, you'll never reach for it. But if you believe you're capable, worthy, and supported by the universe, you'll start making bold moves that create real change. That's why Jen says, your reality is created by what you believe. Let's break it down. Your thoughts create beliefs. Beliefs create actions. Actions create results. Results reinforce beliefs. It's a loop. If you believe you're stuck, you'll act stuck, and your life will keep proving you right. But if you change your belief, your world starts shifting around you. Loincloth Man didn't just think positive thoughts. He knew, deep down, that he'd always be taken care of, and that belief shaped his entire experience. So the question is, what do you believe about yourself right now? And are those beliefs helping you or holding you back? Jen says changing your beliefs isn't about lying to yourself. It's about reprogramming your subconscious to see new possibilities. She suggests a few ways to do it. Become aware of your limiting beliefs. Write down what you believe about money, love, success, and happiness. Then ask, is this actually true? Choose new beliefs that empower you.
Replace I can't with I can figure it out. Replace I'm not ready with I'm learning and growing. Repeat them daily. Say them out loud. Visualize them. Feel them. Your subconscious learns through repetition and emotion. Take aligned action. Every time you act on a new belief, you prove it's real, and your brain starts believing it too. Jen admits that for most of her life, she believed she wasn't the type to be rich or successful. She thought only special people got those kinds of lives. But then she realized the only difference between her and those people was belief. They believed it was possible. So she decided to start believing too, even when it felt ridiculous. She practiced gratitude, visualized abundance, and acted as if she already had it. And over time, her beliefs shifted, and so did her life. She went from broke and insecure to successful and fulfilled. Not because she got lucky, but because she finally decided to believe. Rhino. Jen says belief is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Here's how to build that belief muscle every day. Visualize your dream life. Close your eyes and see it, how it feels, looks, and sounds. Celebrate small wins. Every little success proves that things are working out for you. Speak like a believer. Stop saying if and start saying when. Example, not if I become successful, but when I become successful. Trust the process. Even when results don't show up instantly, keep the faith. The universe is rearranging things in your favor. Universe emoji. Jen says there's always a battle between two energies, faith and fear, and you can only serve one at a time. When you choose fear, you shrink. When you choose faith, you rise. Faith says, everything is happening for me. Fear says, nothing is working out. So every day you have a choice. Which voice will you listen to? Jen reminds us, the moment you decide to believe in the not yet seen, the universe starts aligning to make it visible. That's how magic happens, through belief before evidence. Belief is your superpower. You don't need to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step with faith. Like Loincloth Man, trust that you're supported, guided, and capable of more than you can imagine. Because when your belief expands, your world expands too. Now that you understand the power of belief, how do you actually keep that belief strong when everything around you seems to be falling apart? That's what Jen reveals next in Chapter 10, Meditation 101, where she explains how to quiet your mind, connect with your inner power, and hear the truth beneath all the noise. Stay tuned because peace of mind is about to become your greatest strength. Our minds are loud. They worry, compare, complain, and overthink. They drag us into the past or throw us into the future. But peace lives only in one place, the present moment. In this chapter, Jen Sincero teaches us how to quiet the noise and connect with our inner badass through meditation. So sit back, take a deep breath, because this chapter could literally change how your mind works forever. Jen begins by describing how most of us live on mental autopilot. We're constantly replaying old memories, worrying about what's next, or judging ourselves and others. Our mind is like a radio, playing Fear FM 24/7. And because we never turn that radio off, we forget how powerful we really are. We start to believe every thought we think. But Jen says,
your thoughts are just thoughts. They are not the truth. Meditation helps you separate yourself from the noise so you can finally hear your real voice underneath all that mental chatter. Many people think meditation is about clearing your mind completely, but that's not true. You can't just turn off your thoughts. Meditation isn't about forcing silence, it's about observing your thoughts without getting caught up in them. Think of your mind like a sky. Your thoughts are just clouds passing by. Meditation helps you stop chasing every cloud and remember that you are the sky. You're the calm, steady awareness underneath it all. Jen explains that meditation is the bridge between your conscious and your subconscious mind. When you meditate, you calm your nervous system, release stress and anxiety, strengthen your focus and creativity, raise your vibration so you can attract better energy and opportunities. It's like plugging your phone into a charger, except this time you're the device. Meditation recharges your spirit, clears mental clutter, and reconnects you with your higher self, the part of you that knows you're limitless. Jen keeps it real. She knows sitting cross-legged for hours isn't everyone's thing. So she gives a simple, realistic approach. Find a quiet spot. Sit somewhere comfortable. It doesn't have to be fancy. Close your eyes and breathe. Take slow, deep breaths in and out. Focus on the feeling of your breath. Notice your thoughts. When a thought shows up, and it will, don't fight it. Just notice it and gently bring your attention back to your breath. Start small. Even 5 minutes a day can change your energy. Over time, increase the duration. Be kind to yourself. Some days your mind will be wild. That's okay. Every session is practice, not perfection. Jen says, meditation isn't about getting good at meditation. It's about getting good at life. Jen shares that when she first tried meditation, she was terrible at it. Her brain would scream, "You're wasting time. You have emails to check. You can't sit still." But she stuck with it. Over time, she started noticing small shifts. She was calmer, more focused, and less reactive. She began trusting her intuition more, that quiet inner voice that always knows the truth. That's the real gift of meditation. It helps you hear the whispers of your soul amidst the chaos of your mind. Jen explains that your intuition is your direct line to the universe. It's how your higher self communicates with you. But most people can't hear it because their minds are too noisy. When you meditate, you create space for that voice to come through, that gut feeling, that inner knowing, that gentle nudge that says, "Go for it. This isn't right. Trust yourself." That's your guidance system, and meditation keeps it crystal clear. Meditation doesn't just calm your thoughts, it raises your energy. When you're calm and aligned, you attract better experiences. You stop reacting to every problem and start responding with wisdom. Instead of pushing against life, you flow with it. That's when synchronicities happen. The right people show up, opportunities align, and things just click. Jen says, the more you quiet your mind, the more you hear your truth. And the more you follow your truth, the more badass your life becomes. If you've ever struggled to keep a meditation habit, Jen gets you. Here's how she suggests staying consistent. Set a specific time. Morning or before bed works best. Build it into your routine. Use guided meditations or soft music. There are tons of free ones online, and they really help when starting. Don't judge your sessions. Even if your mind races the whole time, it still counts. Notice the difference. Pay attention to how you feel afterward. Lighter, calmer, more centered. That feeling will keep you coming back. In a world that glorifies busyness, meditation is rebellion. It's saying, I choose peace over panic, clarity over chaos. Jen reminds us, you can't hear divine guidance if your mind is always screaming. You can't feel inspired if you never slow down enough to receive inspiration. Stillness is not weakness, it's strength.
It's where the best ideas, solutions, and breakthroughs come from. When you silence the noise, you remember who you truly are, a powerful, creative being connected to infinite intelligence. Meditation is your access point to peace, clarity, and power. It doesn't matter how long you do it, what matters is that you show up. Every breath, every pause, every moment of awareness brings you closer to your authentic self, the one that already has everything you're searching for. So start today. Sit in stillness and let your badass energy rise from within. Now that you know how to quiet your mind and connect with your higher self, how do you actually use that calm energy to take bold, fearless action towards your dreams? That's exactly what Jen talks about in the next chapter. Chapter 11, Your Brain is Your Bitch. It's all about taking control of your thoughts and rewiring your brain for success. So don't miss it, because this is where your mindset turns into magic. Imagine if your brain was like a powerful computer, and you were the one programming it. But what if I told you that most people spend their lives letting someone else, society, fear, old beliefs, control that programming? In this chapter, Jen Sincero shows us how to reclaim control. Because once you make your brain your bitch, you can make your life your masterpiece. Let's dive into chapter 11, where you stop being ruled by your thoughts and start ruling them. Jen starts with this bold truth. Your brain will believe whatever you tell it, so feed it good stuff. Most people let their brains run wild, repeating old negative thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'll never have money. Things like that don't happen for me. And guess what? The brain listens. It believes every word. Your brain is not your enemy, it's a loyal servant. It just follows orders. If you say, I'm broke, your brain goes, okay, boss, and starts filtering out opportunities that could make you money. But if you say, I'm open to abundance, your brain starts spotting opportunities to grow, connect, and create. You literally shape your reality with your thoughts. Jen explains a fascinating truth. Your mind is a magnet. Whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you believe becomes real. That's why people who constantly talk about problems attract more problems, and those who focus on solutions find solutions. It's not magic, it's science. The reticular activating system in your brain filters information based on what you tell it is important. So if you tell your brain to find reasons why you can succeed, it will. If you tell it that life is hard, it'll keep proving you right. You are the one in charge of your focus. Train your mind to see opportunity, not limitation. Jen says, words are powerful. They shape your beliefs, your attitude, and your energy. Stop saying things like, I'm always late, I'm terrible with money, I can't lose weight. Because when you say it often enough, your brain wires it in as truth. Instead, speak as if what you want is already happening. I'm becoming more punctual every day. I'm learning how to manage my money easily. My body loves feeling strong and healthy.
This isn't lying, it's reprogramming. Your words become your commands, and your brain obeys. Jen reminds us that our beliefs control everything, and most of them were installed when we were too young to question them. If you grew up hearing, money is hard to get, or don't dream too big, those ideas probably got stored in your subconscious. Now, as an adult, you might still be living by those old beliefs, even if they don't serve you anymore. The good news? You can rewrite the code. Start by asking, what do I believe about myself that might not be true? Once you find a limiting belief, challenge it. Replace it with something empowering. Because every belief you hold is a choice,
and you can choose a new one anytime. Jen loves using visualization because your brain can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. When you picture yourself winning, succeeding, or living your dream life, your brain fires the same neurons as if it's actually happening. It starts adjusting your behavior, confidence, and energy to match that reality. That's why top athletes, CEOs, and performers visualize before every big moment. Jen's advice? Spend 5 minutes a day seeing your dream life in vivid detail, what it looks like, feels like, sounds like. The clearer the vision, the faster your brain makes it real. Part 6. Combine mindset with action. But Jen makes one thing clear. Mindset alone isn't enough. You've got to back it up with action. You can't just say, "I'm rich," while sitting on the couch doing nothing. The magic happens when belief and action align. Your thoughts create the energy, your actions create the results. And when both move in the same direction, that's when miracles happen. Here's Jen's simple daily brain training practice. Affirmations. Say positive statements about yourself every day. Example, I'm confident and capable of achieving my goals. Visualization. See yourself already living the life you want. Feel the emotions. Gratitude. Focus on what's already good. This tells your brain that you live in abundance, not lack. Awareness. Catch yourself when negative thoughts appear. Don't fight them, just replace them. This is how you turn your brain from a doubter into your biggest supporter. Jen shares how she used to think she wasn't smart enough or worthy of success. Her brain was full of old limiting beliefs. But through affirmations, mindset work, and daily meditation, she started reshaping her thoughts. Soon she noticed real changes. Opportunities appeared, her confidence grew, and her income multiplied. She didn't get lucky. She trained her brain to support her goals instead of sabotage them. You can do the same. Jen emphasizes that rewiring your brain takes time, just like going to the gym. You don't build mental muscle overnight, but with daily practice, you start to see the shift. You react differently. You think bigger. You expect better. And soon your life begins to reflect that inner transformation. Because the outer world always mirrors your inner world. Your brain is powerful, but it's not the boss. You are. Train it to focus on what you want, not what you fear. Feed it positivity, not doubt. And watch how your reality transforms. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be intentional. Tell your brain where to go, or it'll drag you somewhere you don't want to be. Now that you've learned how to reprogram your brain for success, how do you make sure that your energy, your thoughts, emotions, and actions stay aligned to attract what you truly want? That's what we'll explore next in Chapter 12, Lead with Your Heart. It's all about trusting your intuition, following your passion, and living with purpose. Because if your brain is the engine that drives your life, then your heart is the GPS. We often make decisions with logic, fear, or doubt. But what if the real answers, the ones that lead to happiness, purpose, and success, are already within you? In this chapter, Jen Sincero teaches us how to trust our heart, follow our intuition, and let passion lead the way. Because when you live with heart, you live like a badass. Jen starts by explaining something powerful. Your brain thinks. Your heart knows. Your brain is logical. It calculates, analyzes, and fears risk. It says things like, be realistic. What if you fail? That's too risky. But your heart? It whispers, you were meant for more. Take the leap. This is your purpose. But the problem is, most people let their brains run their lives, even when their hearts are screaming for something bigger.
Jen says the secret to living an extraordinary life is to let your heart lead and then train your brain to follow. Jen believes that your heart is your direct line to the universe. It's how your higher self communicates with you. Every time you feel excitement, inspiration, or that little yes inside, that's the universe guiding you toward your path. But when you ignore your heart, when you choose comfort over passion, life starts to feel dull and disconnected. She says your heart never lies. Your brain makes up excuses. So the real question becomes, are you listening to your fear or your truth? Jen drops one of the most important lessons in the book. Follow what feels good. Sounds simple, right? But most of us were taught that joy is selfish, that success requires struggle. Jen flips that belief. She says joy isn't a luxury, it's a compass. The things that light you up are clues from the universe about what you're meant to do. So when you feel excitement, follow it. When you feel inspired, act on it. Because joy leads you toward alignment, and alignment leads you toward abundance. We've all felt that tug of war between logic and intuition. Your heart says, go for it. Your head says, don't be stupid. Jen says this inner conflict is a sign of growth. It means you're standing at the edge of your comfort zone. The key is to take small steps that honor both. Let your heart dream big, but let your brain help you plan smart. Because when both work together, magic happens. Jen explains that intuition isn't some mystical thing. It's your inner guidance system. It's that quiet, calm voice that speaks softly beneath the noise of fear and doubt. It often sounds like a feeling, a gut pull, a sense of knowing, a little nudge that says, this is right. But here's the catch. Intuition doesn't always make sense. It asks you to trust the unknown, and that's where faith comes in. Faith is believing in what you can't yet see, but you feel is true. When you trust that feeling, even when logic disagrees, you step into flow. Jen shares how she once ignored her heart for years. She stayed in jobs she hated and relationships that drained her, all because it felt safer. But deep down, she knew she was meant for something more. When she finally listened to her intuition to start writing and coaching, everything changed. Her energy shifted, doors opened, and her life exploded with joy and success.
She says, the universe loves to reward those who have the courage to follow their heart. And that's the truth. Once you move with love, the universe moves with you. Here's Jen's simple, practical guide to living from the heart. Get quiet. Meditate, walk in nature, or sit in stillness. Your heart speaks in silence. Notice what feels light versus heavy. If something feels exciting and freeing, that's a yes. If it feels draining or forced, that's a no. Take aligned action. You don't need to have it all figured out. Just take one step in the direction of what feels right. Trust the process. Your heart sees things your mind can't. Even when the path seems uncertain, keep faith. Stay open. The universe may lead you in ways you didn't expect. Be willing to pivot, adapt, and flow. Jen says something beautiful. Love and fear cannot exist in the same space. When you choose love, love for yourself, your dreams, your growth, fear starts to fade. That's why leading with your heart is so powerful. It connects you to love, the most unstoppable force in the universe. The more love you feel, the more courage you have. The more courage you have, the bigger your life becomes. So instead of asking, what should I do? Ask, what would love do? That one question changes everything. When you follow your heart, you become magnetic. People, opportunities, and miracles start aligning around you. Because authenticity is powerful energy, it attracts what's meant for you effortlessly. You stop chasing and start receiving. You stop pretending and start becoming.
As Jen says, you are at your most badass when you are being your true self. Your heart is your greatest guide. It knows what you need, what you love, and what you're capable of, long before your mind catches up. So stop waiting for certainty. Start trusting your inner wisdom. Lead with your heart and let your life follow. Because when you move with love, the universe moves mountains for you. Now that you've learned how to follow your heart and trust your intuition, how do you keep your energy high and your vibrations strong so you can keep attracting what you desire? That's exactly what Jen dives into next. Chapter 13, The Almighty Decision. It's all about making powerful choices that align with your purpose and declaring to the universe, I'm all in. Stay tuned, because your next level of badassery is just one decision away. There's one moment that can change everything in your life. It's not when you wish or when you hope. It's when you decide. Jen Sincero calls it the almighty decision, the moment you stop being interested in changing your life and become committed to it. In this chapter, she teaches us that when you fully decide, the universe rearranges itself to make it happen. So if you're ready to stop trying and start becoming, this one's for you. Jen opens this chapter with a truth bomb. Deciding is not the same as trying. Most people say things like, I want to get fit. I want to start a business. I want to be happy. But then they don't decide. They leave room for excuses, hesitation, and doubt. A real decision is absolute. It's not I'll try, it's I will, period. Jen says that once you truly decide, your energy shifts. You move from hoping to knowing. And that's when the magic starts. Jen explains that the universe loves clarity. When you're indecisive, your energy is scattered. It sends mixed signals. But when you commit fully, your focus becomes a magnet. Suddenly, opportunities show up. The right people appear. Doors open you didn't even know existed. It's not coincidence, it's alignment. As Jen says, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. That's why half-hearted energy never works. You can't attract abundance with hesitation. The universe doesn't respond to maybe. It responds to yes. Here's the trap most people fall into. Waiting. Waiting for more money. Waiting for the right opportunity. Waiting for confidence. But Jen says, you don't wait for the right moment, you create it. There is no perfect time. There's only now. Every second you hesitate, fear grows stronger. Every time you act, confidence grows instead. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Decide, act, move. The moment you start walking, the path reveals itself. Jen gets real. She says most people avoid deciding because they're afraid of what comes next. They fear failing, being judged, losing comfort. But she reminds us indecision is also a decision. When you don't choose, you're still choosing to stay stuck. So ask yourself, what's scarier, taking a risk or staying exactly where I am? Every big success story begins with one moment of bravery, one bold decision that said, enough, I'm doing this. And that's what the almighty decision is all about. Jen breaks it down beautifully. Get clear on what you want. You can't make a powerful decision if your vision is blurry. Be specific. What do you really want? Decide like it's already done. Speak it, feel it, and act like it's guaranteed. The energy of certainty attracts results. Burn the backup plan. Don't leave an escape route. Commitment means no turning back. Take aligned action. Start moving immediately, no matter how small the step. Trust the process. You won't see the full path right away, but every step you take reveals the next one. Jen says, when you make a no-nonsense decision, you sign a contract with the universe. That's how you activate your power. This one's big. Jen says belief doesn't come before the decision. It comes after. You don't wait to feel ready. You decide, and then your confidence grows. When you commit, your brain starts working differently. It looks for ways to make it happen instead of reasons why it can't. That's why the most successful people aren't the smartest. They're the most decisive. They choose first. They figure it out later. Jen shares how her own life changed after one major decision. She was broke, frustrated, and tired of living small. Then one day she decided, truly decided, that she would transform her life no matter what. She hired a coach, invested in herself, and took scary action, even when she had no idea how it would work out. And guess what? It did. Not because she had a perfect plan, but because she stopped giving fear a vote. When you decide to go all in, miracles happen. Every decision you make is a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. When you decide to show up, take risks, and believe in yourself, you start embodying the next level version of you. You're no longer someone who wants change. You are the change. And once your identity shifts, your habits, energy, and results follow automatically. As Jen puts it, you become unstoppable when you act as if success is inevitable. Here's the beauty of it. Once you make one bold decision, others become easier. Each time you say yes to yourself, you build momentum. You start trusting your power. You realize that life rewards the bold, not the hesitant. Decision turns dreamers into doers. It's the bridge between wishing and winning. The almighty decision isn't about knowing how. It's about saying yes with full belief.
It's about drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is happening. I'm done waiting. I'm all in. When you decide with your heart, act with faith, and refuse to back down, you ignite forces you can't even see, because the universe doesn't move until you do. Now that you've learned how powerful your decisions can be, how do you keep that unstoppable energy going even when things get tough or uncertain? Pause. That's exactly what Jen teaches next in Chapter 14, Money, Your New Best Friend. It's a game-changing lesson on transforming your mindset around wealth, abundance, and self-worth. So stay tuned, because your relationship with money is about to become as badass as you are. Money fire, and let's talk about something that most people either love or secretly fear: money. Jen Sincero says, your relationship with money reflects your relationship with yourself. So if you constantly feel broke, guilty about wanting more, or scared to ask for it, this chapter is about to change everything. Because money isn't evil. It's just energy. And it flows where it's welcomed, appreciated, and respected. Water wave. Jen starts by explaining that most of us grow up hearing things like, money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. You should be happy with what you have. And without realizing it, those phrases shape our subconscious beliefs. We start thinking that wanting more is selfish, that success makes us bad, and that being rich means you must have done something wrong. So even when we say we want more money, deep inside, we feel guilty about it. And that guilt, it pushes money away. No entry sign. Jen reminds us, money is just an exchange of energy between people. It's not good or bad. It's neutral. It's a tool that amplifies who you already are. If you're kind and generous, more money helps you do more good. If you're insecure or afraid, more money only magnifies that fear. So if you want to attract more money, you've got to start seeing it as a friend, not an enemy. Think of money as a person. Would you want to hang around someone who always complains about you? Of course not. Laughing face. Money responds to love, respect, and gratitude. Jen gets spiritual here. She says everything, including money, has a vibration.
If your energy says, I don't have enough, you'll keep attracting situations that prove it. But if your energy says, I'm open to receiving, you create space for abundance. So instead of thinking, I can't afford that, try saying, how can I afford that? That small shift turns your brain from limiting to creating. Because the more you believe you deserve abundance, the more abundance finds you. Stars. Scarcity is that inner voice whispering, what if I run out? Or what if I never make enough? Jen says that's the exact energy that blocks the flow. The universe can't give you more when you're clutching tightly to what you already have. So practice trust, spend joyfully, give generously, and believe deeply that there's always more coming. Because there is. When you move from fear to faith, you step into the vibration of abundance. This part is pure gold. Jen explains that gratitude is one of the highest frequencies of energy. The more thankful you are for what you already have, the more reasons you'll get to stay thankful. She suggests a simple practice. Every time you pay a bill, instead of feeling stressed, say, thank you for the money that allowed me to pay this. It sounds small, but it flips your energy completely. You stop seeing bills as burdens and start seeing them as proof that money flows through your life. That mindset shift alone can open massive new doors. Jen shares her personal story, how she once spent money she didn't really have to hire a life coach. Everyone told her she was crazy, but deep down she knew that investing in herself was the only way to grow. And that one bold decision changed everything. She learned that when you value yourself enough to invest, you send a powerful signal to the universe that says, I'm worth it, I'm serious, I'm ready. Money flows where it's respected, not where it's feared. So stop calling self-investment too expensive. It's not a cost, it's a commitment to your future. Seedling. Jen says, don't just think rich, act rich. Now, this doesn't mean spending recklessly. It means carrying yourself with confidence, generosity, and purpose. Rich people don't sit around waiting for permission. They create opportunities. They trust themselves, take risks, and believe they can handle whatever happens. So start living with that same energy now. Act like the version of you who already has it all, because that's how you become them. Sunglasses. Here's Jen's golden rule. You can't chase what you don't respect. If you're desperate for money, it runs away. But when you appreciate it, understand it, and handle it wisely, it stays. Money is like a relationship. When it feels safe and appreciated, it grows. Tulip. So treat it kindly. Track it, manage it, and celebrate it. The more you love it, the more it will love you back. Heart. Money isn't the goal. Freedom is. But freedom requires you to build a healthy, empowered, and loving relationship with money. You can't be your most powerful self while fearing or avoiding it. So stop saying, I'm bad with money. Start saying, I'm becoming a magnet for wealth. Because you are. As Jen says, you are meant to be rich. Because when good people make good money, they do great things. Heart. Now that you've learned how to become friends with money, how do you actually manifest the things you desire and make them real in your life? Stars. That's exactly what Jen teaches next in Chapter 15, Forgive or Fester. It's a powerful lesson about releasing old wounds and emotional blocks that stop abundance from flowing freely. So stay tuned because your next breakthrough might just come from letting go. Leaf. Have you ever held on to anger so long that it started to eat you from the inside? Disappointed face. That person who hurt you,
That betrayal you can't forget, that moment you replay over and over again. Jen Sincero says, until you learn to forgive, you'll stay chained to your pain. In this chapter, she drops one of the most powerful truths of the entire book. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for your enemy to die. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about freeing you so you can finally move forward and live the badass life you deserve. Rainbow. Jen explains that every time we replay an old hurt in our minds, we're reliving that pain. We think holding on gives us power or control, but actually it keeps us stuck emotionally, mentally, even physically. Resentment clogs up your energy. It blocks your creativity, your confidence, your flow, and even your money. Money. Imagine trying to climb a mountain while carrying a backpack full of rocks. That's what unforgiveness does. It keeps you from rising. So if you truly want freedom, success, and happiness, you've got to let it go. Backpack. One of the biggest misconceptions about forgiveness is that it means saying, it's okay, or I agree with what they did. No, Jen makes it clear, forgiveness doesn't mean you approve, it means you refuse to let their actions control your emotions any longer.
It's not weakness, it's strength. When you forgive, you take back your power. You stop being a victim of your past and become the creator of your present. So forgiveness is not saying you win. It's saying I'm done suffering because of what you did. That's real victory. Joopy. Jen reminds us sometimes the hardest person to forgive is ourselves. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you stayed too long in a toxic relationship. Maybe you didn't go after a dream when you had the chance. And now you punish yourself for it every day. But here's the truth. Beating yourself up doesn't make you better. It makes you bitter. You're human. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. As Jen says, you can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. Book. So forgive yourself. Not because you forgot, but because you've learned. Forgiveness isn't just emotional, it's energetic. When you hold on to anger, you keep yourself in a low vibration, the frequency of pain, guilt, and resentment. But when you forgive, you raise your vibration to the frequency of love, peace, and abundance. That's when good things start to happen. Opportunities appear, relationships improve, your health even gets better. Forgiveness literally frees up your energy to attract better things. Shooting star. It's like deleting old files from your mental hard drive. Suddenly, there's space for something new and beautiful. Computer, red heart. Jen breaks down a few steps that make forgiveness possible, even when it feels impossible. Acknowledge the pain. Stop pretending it didn't hurt. Name it. Feel it. Healing starts with honesty. Understand the lesson. Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me about myself, my boundaries, or my worth? Separate the person from the action. You can hate what someone did without hating who they are. Everyone acts from their own pain. Choose to release. Literally say out loud, I choose to forgive and let this go. You might not feel it immediately, but keep repeating it. Your heart will catch up. Pulsing heart. Send love. Yes, really. Jen says this part feels weird, but it works. Send that person light, peace, or love from afar. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it to cleanse your own energy. Jen shares how she once held on to anger toward a family member for years. She thought forgiveness would mean they got away with it. But she realized that while she was busy being angry, they had moved on, and she was the one suffering. So she decided to forgive, not through one dramatic moment, but little by little. Every time the memory came up, she said, I release you. I choose peace. And over time, the pain softened. That's when she realized forgiveness isn't an event, it's a process. Sunflower. Here's the magic. When you forgive, you don't just heal yourself. You heal your future.
You show the universe that you're ready for new blessings because you can't hold hate in one hand and reach for abundance with the other. Forgiveness opens your palm, and life starts giving again. Star. People notice your energy, your confidence grows, and suddenly you feel light, unstoppable, free. That's the gift of letting go. Jen beautifully ties forgiveness to manifestation. She says, you can't manifest abundance from a heart full of bitterness. Think about it. How can you receive love, joy, or money if your energy is clogged with anger? Forgiveness clears your inner space so you can attract what you actually want: love, peace, opportunity, and wealth. It's not spiritual talk, it's energetic truth. High voltage. Sometimes the person who hurt you will never say sorry. They may never admit what they did. They might not even realize they hurt you. And that's okay. You don't need their apology to heal. You only need your decision to move on. You can still choose freedom even if they choose silence. Because forgiveness isn't about justice. It's about peace. Sunny sky. Forgiveness doesn't change the past. It changes your future. It's how you stop letting your pain define you and start letting your purpose guide you. As Jen says, you can't be a badass if you're still chained to your past. So today, take one step toward letting go. Forgive someone, forgive yourself, and watch how the energy of your life starts to shift. Rainbow. Because the moment you release the weight of anger, you rise into your power. Sparing star. Now that you've learned how to let go of resentment and make space for healing, what happens when you take that new, powerful energy and aim it toward your future dreams? Shooting star. That's exactly what Jen talks about next in Chapter 16, Love the One You Is. Red Heart. It's all about self-love, confidence, and fully embracing who you are, flaws, strengths, and all. So stay tuned, because the next chapter might just help you fall in love with the most important person in your life. You. Purple Heart. Be honest. How often do you say nice things to yourself? Do you cheer yourself on? Or do you criticize every tiny flaw? Jen Sincero says this chapter is the heart of You Are a Badass. Red Heart. Because no matter how many goals you chase or how many dreams you manifest, if you don't love yourself, you'll always feel like something is missing. So today, let's talk about the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one with you. Rainbow. Jen starts with a simple truth. Most people don't truly love themselves. They like themselves sometimes, but deep down, they carry guilt, shame, or the belief that they're not enough. We've been conditioned to be humble, to downplay our gifts, to hide our confidence, because somewhere along the way, we learned that loving yourself is arrogant. But Jen says self-love isn't vanity, it's sanity. Boom. If you don't love yourself, you'll accept less than you deserve. You'll chase people, jobs, and validation that never fill the hole inside. The truth is, when you love yourself, you become magnetic. You attract better relationships, better opportunities, and a better life. Purple Heart. Jen reminds us, we are not our past. You've made mistakes, sure, we all have. But those mistakes don't define you. They shape you, teach you, and prepare you, but they don't limit you. When you keep replaying your failures in your mind, you're telling your subconscious that you're unworthy. But when you forgive yourself and say, I'm still proud of who I am, you send a powerful message to the universe. I deserve the best. Sunny sky. This one's huge. Jen says comparison is the fastest way to kill joy. You scroll through social media and think, she's so beautiful. He's more successful. They have it all. But here's the truth. Everyone is fighting their own invisible battles. The version of them you see is just the highlight reel. Jen reminds us, you are on your own unique journey. Nobody else can do you better than you. So instead of comparing, start celebrating. Celebrate others' wins and your own progress. Because someone out there is looking at you and thinking, wow, I wish I had that. You are already enough. Flower. Imagine this. If your best friend was going through a tough time, would you say, "You're such a loser"? Of course not.
You'd say, "You're doing your best. You'll get through this." So why not say the same to yourself? Jen says the way you talk to yourself becomes the way you live your life. If your inner voice is full of love, you'll act with confidence. If it's full of criticism, you'll hold yourself back. So here's your challenge. Start treating yourself with kindness, patience, and compassion. Look in the mirror and say, "I love you, I'm proud of you, I've got your back." It might feel awkward at first, but it's life-changing. Jen reminds us that self-love isn't a one-time event. It's a daily choice. You have to practice it every single day through small, consistent actions. Set boundaries. Say no when something drains your energy. Take care of your body. Move, rest, and nourish yourself. Surround yourself with uplifting people. Energy is contagious. Celebrate your progress. Don't wait for perfection. Enjoy the process. Forgive quickly, yourself and others. Because self-love grows in the moments when you choose peace over people-pleasing and growth over guilt. Self-love is the foundation for everything else in your life. When you love yourself, you set higher standards. You attract people who respect you. You make decisions that honor your growth. You stop settling for almost. And when you don't, you overwork, overgive, and overthink, hoping someone else will give you what you're not giving yourself. Self-love is the root of confidence, abundance, and happiness. Jen shares how she used to be full of self-doubt and fear. She would sabotage relationships, procrastinate on her goals, and constantly compare herself to others. It wasn't until she started working on her self-love, affirming her worth, forgiving her past, and trusting her power, that everything began to shift. Her career took off. Her relationships improved. Her entire energy changed. Because when you love yourself, you become unstoppable. Jen says, this might be the hardest lesson of all. Don't wait to love yourself after you lose weight, after you make money, after you find love, or after you fix yourself. Love yourself now, because you're already whole, you're already enough, you're already worthy of love, success, and joy just as you are. As she writes, you are perfect in your own magnificent, imperfect way. Self-love isn't selfish, it's sacred. When you love yourself, you stop seeking approval, you stop chasing validation, and you finally start living with peace and purpose. You become your own best friend, your own hero, your own biggest fan. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need a perfect version of you. It needs the real, authentic, self-loving version of you. So look in the mirror today and say it with full belief. I love you. You are a badass. Now that you've learned how to love yourself fully and unapologetically, how do you use that self-love to create the life of your dreams and align your thoughts, energy, and actions with your goals? That's exactly what Jen dives into next. In Chapter 17, It's So Easy Once You Figure Out It Isn't Hard. It's all about mastering your mindset and realizing that success doesn't have to be a struggle. It can actually be fun. So, stay tuned, because the next chapter will teach you how to turn ease, flow, and belief into your new superpowers. Have you ever noticed how some people make success look effortless? They seem to glide through life. Everything just flows for them. Meanwhile, you're trying, struggling, hustling, and it feels like you're running uphill every single day. Jen Sincero says, it doesn't have to be this way. In fact, when you finally understand how energy, mindset, and belief truly work,
You realize that life gets easy once you stop believing it has to be hard. So let's break it down. How to make your dreams flow naturally instead of forcing them. Jen begins this chapter by saying most people are addicted to struggle. We grow up hearing things like, you have to work hard for everything. Nothing good comes easy. If it's easy, it's not worth it. And while effort matters, this belief creates an invisible wall between us and success. Because when you believe something has to be hard, you subconsciously resist ease. You might think, if I'm not exhausted, I'm not doing enough. But Jen flips that idea on its head. She says, working hard and being miserable are not the same thing. Real success comes when you align your energy, not when you exhaust yourself. Jen explains the difference between struggle energy and flow energy. Struggle energy feels like forcing things that aren't working, doubting yourself constantly, feeling heavy, drained, and uninspired, believing success must take years of pain. While flow energy feels like taking inspired action, feeling excited about what you do, trusting timing and enjoying the process, attracting opportunities with ease. When you're in flow, you still work, but it's joyful, not painful. You don't fight against the current, you ride with it. Here's something Jen points out that modern society loves: the hustle culture. We brag about being busy, sleep-deprived, and overworked, as if exhaustion equals success. But in truth, grinding endlessly often means you're out of alignment. When you're doing something you love, it doesn't drain you, it fuels you. She writes, you are meant to thrive, not survive. So yes, work hard, but not from desperation or fear. Work from love, excitement, and belief. That's how the universe supports you.
This is one of Jen's most powerful lessons. Surrender doesn't mean give up. It means trust. When you keep obsessing over how something will happen, you block the magic. You start doubting, worrying, and forcing outcomes. But when you relax and let go, you open the door for miracles. Jen says, when you let go of control, you allow the universe to do its job. That means do your best, stay aligned, and then release the worry. It's not your job to figure out every detail. It's your job to believe. Jen explains that confident energy is magnetic. When you expect good things, the universe matches that frequency. If you say, I know this will work out, I trust myself, I'm open to miracles, you create a vibration that pulls amazing experiences toward you. But when you say, I hope it works, I don't know if I can, I'll try, but I doubt it, you block your own blessings. The universe listens to your energy, not just your words. So act as if your dream is already on its way. Jen shares her own story of moving from struggle to flow. Before success, she worked endlessly, always broke, always exhausted. She believed life had to be hard. So it was. But when she started trusting her intuition, having fun with her goals, and saying affirmations like, money flows easily and freely to me, things began to shift. Clients showed up, opportunities appeared, her income multiplied. Why? Because she stopped pushing and started allowing. Jen breaks it into a simple formula. Decide what you want, get clear. Vague desires create vague results. Believe it's possible. Don't ask how, just trust that it can happen. Act as if. Embody the energy of someone who already has it. Take inspired action. Follow your nudges and excitement. Let go of control. Surrender and watch things align. When you do this, things start to happen for you, not to you.
Jen clarifies, easy doesn't mean no effort. It means no resistance. It's not about avoiding work, it's about removing emotional struggle. When you're aligned with your purpose and belief, your actions feel inspired, your results flow faster, and your life feels lighter. As she beautifully puts it, ease is not the opposite of effort, it's the opposite of resistance. Once you figure out that life isn't supposed to be hard, everything becomes easier. Not because the world changes, but because you do. You stop fighting the current and start surfing the waves. You stop chasing and you start attracting. You stop doubting and you start knowing. Ease is your natural state. You just have to let yourself return to it. Now that you've learned to let go of struggle and flow with ease, how do you trust the universe enough to take the biggest leaps of faith in your life? The ones that scare you but could change everything. That's what Jen explores next in Chapter 18, Procrastination, Perfection, and a Polish Beer Garden. It's all about breaking through fear, taking bold action, and living courageously even when your brain screams, wait. We've all done it. We've dreamed big, planned everything perfectly. But when it's time to actually do it, we freeze. We wait for the right time. We tell ourselves, I'm not ready yet. We tweak, edit, and overthink until the opportunity slips away. Jen Sincero calls this out perfectly in Chapter 18 because procrastination and perfectionism are just fear in disguise. So today, let's break down how to stop waiting and start doing, because your badass life won't wait forever. Jen starts this chapter with a funny story about how she was procrastinating on writing her book. She'd convinced herself she needed the perfect conditions, the right mindset, the right desk, the right mood before she could start. So instead of writing, she found herself sitting in a Polish beer garden, drinking beer and wondering why she couldn't get motivated. Beer and laughing emoji. Then it hit her. It wasn't that she didn't have time or talent. She was just scared. Scared of failing. Scared of not being good enough. Scared of putting herself out there. That moment changed everything. She realized procrastination is fear in fancy shoes. High heel emoji. Jen explains that procrastination often hides behind excuses that sound smart. We say things like, I'll start when I have more money. I'll launch it after I learn one more skill. I'm waiting for the right time. But the truth is, there is no perfect time. These excuses just protect us from discomfort. Because starting means risking failure. And failure means facing our deepest insecurities. Jen says, you're not waiting for the right time. You're waiting to stop feeling scared. And that never happens. Courage isn't about waiting for fear to disappear. It's about acting while you're scared. Let's talk about perfectionism, the cousin of procrastination. Perfectionism makes you believe that if something isn't flawless, it's not worth doing. But perfectionism is actually a clever form of self-sabotage. It tricks you into endless preparation instead of bold action. You edit your idea to death. You research for weeks. You plan so much that you never begin. Jen says, perfectionism is just fear of criticism disguised as high standards. The truth is, nobody's first try is perfect. The people you admire didn't start perfect. They just started. So instead of asking, is it perfect yet? Start asking, is it moving me forward? Walking emoji. Strong emoji, bicep emoji. Jen drops a powerful truth bomb. The universe responds to action, not to thinking. You can visualize, meditate, and plan all you want, but nothing happens until you take that first step.
Taking action shows the universe that you're serious. And once you move, opportunities, people, and ideas begin to appear out of nowhere. Sparkles emoji. It's like the universe saying, finally, you're ready.
So if you're stuck waiting for a sign, here it is. Start now. Jen reminds us that fear never fully goes away, and that's okay. Even the most successful people feel fear before big moves. The difference is they've learned to feel it and do it anyway. Fear is just your brain trying to keep you safe. It's a survival mechanism, not a stop sign. When you take action despite fear, you teach your brain that you're stronger than your comfort zone. And each time you do that, fear loses power. Jen's advice here is pure gold. If you wait until you're ready, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take one small, messy, imperfect step. Write the first paragraph. Post your first video. Make your first call. Apply for that opportunity. Because clarity doesn't come before action, it comes from action. Every step you take reveals the next one. Awesome! Let's continue with Chapter 18, Procrastination, Perfection, and a Polish Beer Garden from You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, written in the same motivational YouTube-style storytelling script that keeps your audience inspired and hooked till the end. Chapter 18, Procrastination, Perfection, and a Polish Beer Garden. We've all done it. We've dreamed big, planned everything perfectly, but when it's time to actually do it, we freeze. We wait for the right time. We tell ourselves, I'm not ready yet. We tweak, edit, and overthink until the opportunity slips away. Jen Sincero calls this out perfectly in Chapter 18, because procrastination and perfectionism are just fear in disguise. So today, let's break down how to stop waiting and start doing, because your badass life won't wait forever. Part 1. The Polish Beer Garden Moment. Jen starts this chapter with a funny story about how she was procrastinating on writing her book. She'd convinced herself she needed the perfect conditions, the right mindset, the right desk, the right mood before she could start. So instead of writing, she found herself sitting in a Polish beer garden, drinking beer, and wondering why she couldn't get motivated. Then it hit her. It wasn't that she didn't have time or talent. She was just scared. Scared of failing. Scared of not being good enough. Scared of putting herself out there. That moment changed everything. She realized procrastination is fear in fancy shoes. Part 2. The lies we tell ourselves. Jen explains that procrastination often hides behind excuses that sound smart. We say things like, I'll start when I have more money. I'll launch it after I learn one more skill. I'm waiting for the right time. But the truth is, there is no perfect time. These excuses just protect us from discomfort, because starting means risking failure, and failure means facing our deepest insecurities. Jen says, you're not waiting for the right time. You're waiting to stop feeling scared, and that never happens. Courage isn't about waiting for fear to disappear. It's about acting while you're scared. Rainbow Part 3. Perfectionism, the pretty mask of fear. Let's talk about perfectionism, the cousin of procrastination. Perfectionism makes you believe that if something isn't flawless, it's not worth doing. But perfectionism is actually a clever form of self-sabotage. It tricks you into endless preparation instead of bold action. You edit your idea to death. You research for weeks. You plan so much that you never begin. Jen says, perfectionism is just fear of criticism disguised as high standards. The truth is, nobody's first try is perfect. The people you admire today didn't start perfect. They just started. So instead of asking, is it perfect yet? Start asking, is it moving me forward? ... The universe loves action. Jen drops a powerful truth bomb. The universe responds to action, not thinking.
You can visualize, meditate, and plan all you want, but nothing happens until you take that first step. Taking action shows the universe that you're serious. And once you move, opportunities, people, and ideas begin to appear out of nowhere. It's like the universe saying, finally, you're ready. So if you're stuck waiting for a sign, here it is. Start now. Brain, fear will always be there. Jen reminds us that fear never fully goes away, and that's okay. Even the most successful people feel fear before big moves. The difference is, they've learned to feel it and do it anyway. Fear is just your brain trying to keep you safe. It's a survival mechanism, not a stop sign. When you take action despite fear, you teach your brain that you're stronger than your comfort zone. And each time you do that, fear loses power. Flower Part 6. Start before you're ready. Jen's advice here is pure gold. If you wait until you're ready, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take one small, messy, imperfect step. Write the first paragraph. Post your first video. Make your first call. Apply for that opportunity. Because clarity doesn't come before action, it comes from action. Every step you take reveals the next one. Part 7. Stop overthinking, start moving. Jen gives a tough love reminder. Overthinking is the enemy of progress. When you sit around analyzing every possible outcome, you waste the energy that could have gone into doing. So instead of trying to predict the future, just move forward. Action builds confidence. Confidence builds momentum, and momentum changes everything. You don't need the full map, just start walking. Jen explains that the universe loves momentum. When you take action, even tiny steps, you send a signal that says, I'm serious about my dream. And that energy attracts resources, people, and opportunities to help you. But if you wait, doubt, and hesitate, you send the opposite message. I'm not ready. And the universe responds with silence. So move, do something, anything. Even if it's small, it builds momentum. As Jen says, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start moving in the right direction. Part 8. Perfection kills progress. If you wait to be perfect, you'll never grow. Every expert you know today started as a beginner. They learned by doing, failing, improving, and doing again. That's the secret. Jen says, the people who get what they want are the ones who are willing to look stupid doing it. So send the email, record the video, launch the project. You'll learn more from one real attempt than from 1,000 plans. Here's something powerful. The more you procrastinate, the stronger your fear becomes. Every time you delay action, you reinforce the belief that it's too scary or too hard. But when you act, you take away fear's power. Fear can't survive in motion. It feeds on hesitation, not momentum. So if you're scared, that's your cue to move, not freeze. Jen says half-hearted action gives half-hearted results. If you want big change, you need full commitment.
That means no plan B. No, maybe someday. No, I'll try. It's all in or nothing. Because once you commit, everything starts aligning for you. Opportunities show up. Confidence grows. The universe supports you. As Jen writes, when you make a powerful decision, you flip a switch that says, I'm doing this no matter what. This chapter is about courage over comfort. Procrastination and perfectionism are just fear wearing fancy clothes. They whisper, wait. But what they really mean is stay small. Jen's message? Don't wait until you're ready. Don't wait until it's perfect. Don't wait until you have all the answers. Start now from where you are
with what you have, because action beats hesitation every single time. And when you act, life responds. So now you've learned how to defeat procrastination and perfectionism. But how do you keep moving forward when challenges hit? When the path gets tough? When things fall apart? And when your faith starts to shake? That's what Jen dives into next in chapter 19, the drama of overwhelm. It's about reclaiming your focus, simplifying your energy, and mastering calm even in chaos. Do you ever feel like life is just too much? Like your to-do list keeps growing, your mind won't stop racing, and you're drowning in chaos, even when you're doing your best? Well, Jen Sincero calls this the drama of overwhelm. And she says it's not about having too much to do, it's about what's happening inside your mind. In this chapter, Jen teaches how to stop living in constant chaos and start creating peace, clarity, and focus, no matter what's happening around you. Jen begins with a powerful truth. Being overwhelmed is not about having too much to do, it's about deciding to be overwhelmed. Wait, deciding? Yes, overwhelm doesn't come from your schedule. It comes from your thoughts about it. When you keep saying, "I'm so busy," or "I can't handle this," you're affirming that belief, and your mind believes you. Your brain starts to panic, even if things are manageable. Jen says, instead of saying, "I'm overwhelmed," try saying, "I have a lot going on, and I'm handling it." It's a small shift, but it changes everything. You might think you don't want to feel overwhelmed, but on a subconscious level, overwhelm gives you something. It can make you feel important, like "I'm so busy, I must be valuable." It can give you an excuse, like "I can't start yet, I'm too swamped." It can distract you from fear, like "If I stay busy, I won't face what's really bothering me." But Jen calls this out as what it is, a form of self-sabotage. She says, we use overwhelm as a shield to protect ourselves from taking action. Because when you're too busy, you don't have to risk failure. You can hide behind your chaos. But the truth? Overwhelm is a story, and you can rewrite it anytime. Jen reminds us that your energy is your most valuable resource, not your time. When your energy is scattered, everything feels 10 times harder. So the goal isn't to do more, it's to focus your energy where it matters most. She gives a few practical tips. Write everything down. Get it out of your head and onto paper. Because thinking about tasks takes more energy than doing them. Prioritize. Not everything matters equally. Focus on what moves your life forward today. Say no. Protect your peace. You can't pour from an empty cup. Ask for help. Strong people don't do everything alone. They delegate. Jen says, overwhelm disappears when you decide that peace matters more than perfection. Have you ever noticed how we love to exaggerate our struggles? We say things like, "I'm drowning in work. I have zero time. My life is chaos." Jen calls this drama addiction. We complain because it feels comforting. It makes us feel like we're doing something. But here's the catch. Complaining keeps you stuck. It focuses your energy on the problem, not the solution. Jen challenges you to ask yourself, am I actually overwhelmed or am I dramatizing this? Because when you drop the story, you make space for clarity. Overwhelm happens when you think about everything at once. You look at the big picture, your goals, your gills, your future, and your brain freaks out. But Jen says the secret is simple. Focus only on the next step.
Don't think about the mountain. Think about the next rock in front of you. She writes, action is the antidote to overwhelm. Every small step creates progress, and with progress comes relief. So the next time your mind spirals, stop and ask, what's one small thing I can do right now? Then do it. That single step pulls you out of your head and into motion. Jen explains that overwhelm often comes from focusing on what's wrong instead of what's right. When you look at your tasks as burdens, they drain you. But when you look at them as blessings, signs that you're growing, they empower you. For example, I have to write emails turns into I get to connect with people. I have to work late turns into I get to build my dream. Your words shape your energy, and your energy shapes your reality. Jen says, gratitude turns chaos into clarity. So, whenever you feel stressed, stop and find one thing to appreciate, even if it's small. It instantly shifts your vibration. To stay out of overwhelm, Jen recommends building small daily habits that ground you. Here are a few she suggests. Meditate or breathe for 5 minutes every morning. Journal your thoughts instead of letting them swirl in your head. Move your body. Exercise releases stuck energy. Take breaks. Rest is not laziness, it's part of productivity. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge progress daily. When you make peace a habit, chaos can't control you. Jen says one of the biggest causes of overwhelm is trying to please everyone. You say yes to things you don't want to do out of guilt or fear of rejection. But every yes to something unimportant is a no to your own priorities. She writes, you are responsible for your life, not everyone else's expectations. So set boundaries. Cancel commitments that drain you, and don't apologize for protecting your time and energy. Peace requires courage. Jen reminds us that overwhelm is really a lack of trust, a belief that you can't handle what's in front of you. But here's the truth. You've handled every single challenge so far. You've made it through heartbreaks, failures, stress, and uncertainty. You're stronger than your fear. So instead of saying, I can't do this, say, I've got this. Because when you trust yourself, your energy calms. And when your energy calms, everything gets easier. So breathe, simplify, and remember, you can handle this. Always have, always will. Now that you know how to escape the chaos of overwhelm and find calm within yourself,
how do you take that inner peace and use it to attract money, success, and abundance without guilt, fear, or struggle? That's what Jen reveals next in Chapter 20, Fear is for Suckers. It's all about how fear blocks your abundance and how to break free from it once and for all. Have you ever felt like your mind is working against you? Like, no matter how hard you try to think positive, your brain keeps saying, you're not enough, you can't do it, or what if you fail? Well, here's some truth from Jen Sincero. Your brain isn't the boss of you. You are the boss of your brain. In this chapter, Jen teaches us how to train your thoughts like a muscle. So instead of letting your mind control you, you start making it work for you. Let's break it down. Jen starts by saying something super powerful. Your thoughts are the most powerful tools you've got. Every single thing you see in your life right now, your job, your relationships, your happiness level, all started as a thought. If you constantly think, I'm broke, your brain looks for proof that you're broke. If you think, I'm confident and capable, your brain looks for proof that you are. That's how powerful your mind is. The problem? Most people let their brains run on autopilot, repeating the same negative stories every day. I'm not good enough. I always mess up. I'll never get what I want. But here's the twist. Those aren't facts. They're just thoughts you've practiced believing. And what you practice, your brain perfects. Your brain is like a computer. It doesn't care what you program into it, it just runs the software you install. So, if you feed it fear, doubt, and excuses, guess what it produces? More fear, more doubt, more excuses. But if you start feeding it faith, positivity, and power, it begins to rewire itself. Here's how it works scientifically, and Jen explains this in her fun, non-boring way. Your brain has something called neural pathways, like roads your thoughts travel on. The more you think a thought, the stronger that road becomes. So, if you've been thinking, "I'm not smart enough," for 10 years, that thought has a superhighway in your brain. To change it, you've got to start building a new road by practicing new thoughts over and over again until that becomes your brain's new default route. Jen says, your brain is your servant, not your master. Think of it like a dog. If you don't train it, it'll poop everywhere, chew the furniture, and run wild. But if you teach it where to go, how to behave, and what to focus on, it becomes your best friend. Your brain is the same. You train it by choosing your thoughts on purpose every single day. Try saying, I am smart enough. I am strong enough. I am capable of amazing things. At first, your brain will roll its eyes and say, yeah, right. But keep repeating it anyway. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's true and what's imagined. It just believes what it hears the most. So, feed it what you want to believe. Jen gives a brilliant tip. Start noticing your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself thinking something negative, stop and ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, then don't say it to yourself either. She says it's crazy how mean we can be to ourselves. We tell ourselves things like, you're such a failure. You'll never look good. You're so lazy. Imagine saying that to your best friend. They'd block your number. It's because our brains get used to negativity. But now it's time to retrain that habit. Here's another key lesson. Your brain can only focus on one thing at a time, so choose wisely. When you focus on what you don't want, you attract more of it. Example, I don't want to be broke. Your brain hears broke. I don't want to be lonely. Your brain hears lonely. Instead, shift to what you do want. I am creating wealth. I am surrounded by love. I am confident and free. Remember, your thoughts send signals to the universe, so start sending the right message. Jen makes something very clear. Positive thinking alone isn't enough. You can't just sit on your couch chanting affirmations while Netflix is on. You have to take action that matches your beliefs. When you think, I'm successful, start acting like it. Dress better, speak better, take responsibility, show up like a boss. That's how you trick your brain into upgrading your identity. And soon your external life will start catching up to that new internal reality. As Jen says, faith is taking the first step, even when you can't see the whole staircase. Fear lives in your brain too, and if you let it, it'll grab the steering wheel and drive your life straight into a ditch. Jen says fear's job is to keep you alive, not happy. So it always whispers worst-case scenarios. But remember this, fear is just your brain trying to protect you from discomfort, not from actual danger. So the next time fear says, don't do it, smile and say, thanks, brain, but I've got this. At the end of the chapter, Jen drops this golden truth bomb. You are responsible for what goes on in your head, no one else. You can't control everything that happens around you, but you can control what you think about it. That's true freedom. Once you realize your thoughts create your emotions, and your emotions create your actions,
you see that your life is literally built from the inside out. So, if you want to change your life, start by changing your thoughts, one positive, powerful belief at a time. Your brain is not your enemy. It's your tool. But like any tool, it only works if you know how to use it. Don't let your mind run wild with fear and doubt. Train it, guide it, command it. Because the moment you master your thoughts, you master your life. Now that you've learned how to make your brain work for you, here's the big question. Even if you master your thoughts, what if your actions still don't match your desires? How do you actually take the right steps to create real change in your life? That's what Jen reveals next in Chapter 12, Lead with Your Heart. A deep emotional guide to following your intuition, taking bold action, and letting your heart, not fear, lead the way.